everyone, it's Jay.
And Sean.
And we watched a movie.
Yes, we did.
It's called Moxie, and it's a new release on Netflix right now.
Right now?
Right now.
Okay. Today.
That's right. So, Moxie, how are we going to describe this movie?
It's a high school movie.
It's a high school riot movie.
Yeah.
So, directed by Amy Poehler. Yay, Amy Poehler.
Yay,
good job.
Amy Poehler.
Also sort of starring Amy Poehler.
As the mom.
As the mom. She does have a name, Sean. It's Alycia.
Okay, thanks.
But she is the mom to a high school student named Vivian, who is, a good student, a nice kid.
Yeah, she's quiet. She never gets in trouble.
A quiet girl who doesn't make waves. She and best friend Claudia describe themselves as introverts quite proudly, and this seems to have been the basis of their friendship for many, many years. But this is like the first day of, what, are they juniors now?
Yeah, I think so.
And the first day of school, and Vivian is inspired by the new girl in class, in her English class, Lucy. So Lucy, even though she's new, and you might think she would be shy and quiet on her first day, pushes back against the English teacher, Mr. Davies, for having a curriculum of pretty much all white male authors. Not unlike probably most high school syllabuses.
That's most of what you read.
Are going to be, yes. And so she's got some thoughts on this. And you can tell that there are some other ladies in the class who, if they haven't thought of it before, they're certainly agreeing with her now. But there's a guy named Mitchell, who's the high school football quarterback, is not used to having any sort of challenge. And so he, of course, has to interrupt her to tell her she's being stupid.
She should know her place.
That's right. He is all for the status quo being maintained. Even if we can't quite justify, why are we still reading The Great Gatsby, do you think? Is it really that great a book? Does it really speak to the American dream or the American experience as a whole? Well, he apparently, even though he's never read it, loves it and needs it to stay on the curriculum forever. Anyways, as if this wasn't bad enough, this little classroom incident is just the starting basis where he has mounted a campaign of harassment now against Lucy. And the principal wants nothing to do with hearing about any complaints about her star quarterback. Nobody wants to do anything for Lucy.
No. Except
Vivian, who is witnessing these events, or some of them anyways, and is pretty horrified that this is what passes for okay behavior in her high school. Of course, she's always known that. She and Claudia definitely agree that this is not a great place, but isn't this just like every other high school? And yeah, maybe it is, but that doesn't make it okay. But it's not until they're attending a pep rally where they are literally forced to cheer for this guy, Mitchell. King of the football team, I think is what they call it. That's his position, right?
Even
though the football team has never, I think, won a game in their entire lives. Very bad. When a list gets published, apparently the boys take it upon themselves to rate and rank the girls every year and publish that list for everyone to see. So it's not until that list is published, and that is a pretty undeniable piece of evidence that things are super wrong, especially because, once again, the principal just is going to look the other way.
Yeah.
Not her she doesn't understand social media. She just doesn't want to have to deal with anything that she's not forced to. So
they're going to force her to.
Yes. So Vivian, our good, quiet little girl, goes home and basically decides to stir up shit. A little bit influenced or inspired by her own mother, again played by Amy Poehler, who herself was a bit of a piss and vinegar type back in her high school days. A riot girl. So Vivian decides the best way to fight back is with an anonymous zine that she calls Moxie. So she writes this thing furiously, full of rage, and publishes it anonymously, leaves it around the school, and the ladies pick it up.
Of course they do.
Yes. So through this zine and sort of a little bit of a revolution that comes along with it, the girls in the school are fighting back against apparently all kinds of sexist things that just happen every single day and that we just let happen until sort of a wave of people come together. And I think that's kind of the wonderful thing about this movie is that, you know, we start off with just Vivian and Claudia and their friends and they're introverts and that's who they are. But they sort of realize that they have something in common with almost every girl in the school. They all have a common cause and that they can unite, really, because of that. So it's kind of inspiring and wonderful to see them realizing this, that there are strength in numbers and that women especially are taught to see each other as rivals. Because there's only one slot on that list for what, you know, but that's how women are taught to see each other. It's always supposed to be a rivalry. And I think in doing this, they start to see each other as like, well, maybe we could actually just be on the same team and get more accomplished.
Like men do.
Yeah, that's right. And that's why men hate feminism.
It's true.
Because they don't want women realizing they could all be on the same team.
No, well, the whole system is set up so that it's self-perpetuating.
Mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to rise up. You're ruining things.
Right.
You're being difficult.
Oh, boy. So all these little high school girls are starting a revolution. They are going to smash the patriarchy.
Yes, they are.
And I mean, the thing is, they've only got a small scope to work with, but that's the most important place to start.
Well, absolutely.
Is at home or in your school or in your workplace, where it is affecting you.
Well, you see a thing that's wrong, then fix it. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter how big or small it seems. It's a thing that shouldn't exist.
That's right. So we also see, you know, the sort of spectrum of sexist things that are going on in the school, from smaller things like dress codes, which communicate larger themes that are very unhealthy, of course, and toxic, and then the difference between male athletes and female athletes, and then all the way to sexual assault. I like that we also kind of a little bit see young people versus old people, and that the high school principal is really sort of, even though she is female, played by Marcia Harden, turning her back on these young women and really seems to have an emphasis on obedience and keeping things orderly than any actual truth or justice or what's right.
Yep.
Which is a scary thing.
Yeah, but I think that'll be familiar to people in high school. Certainly it reminded me of my high school experience.
That's right. And that's very sad. So I'm glad to see young people taking old people to task, even if I'm the old people now.
You're not the old people.
I felt old watching this movie.
Did you?
Yes, I did. I felt old. I felt embarrassed that we left so much work still for young women to be doing. But I also felt inspired and hopeful and optimistic that they're taking up the cause so much younger and so much passionately, and they're finding feminism on their own terms. And seeing little boys come on board too, which, I mean, this has to be the first generation where it's okay to be a man and a feminist.
I think so. Mm-hmm. It's a new thing.
It is a new thing. I know I had to poke and prod at you quite a bit.
Yes.
And you're like a nice guy who doesn't think women should be beneath them.
Correct.
And you still didn't identify as a feminist until I
because I didn't
forced
really
you to.
understand it because it's been distorted.
Yes, that's true. Well, of course, feminism has been vilified, so that even in my generation, we were afraid to say the word feminism because it was so poisoned. It was so bad. You were a terrible woman, an undesirable woman, if you are a feminist.
Yeah. And where is that coming from? I wonder.
I wonder who has such a stake.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're taking that word back.
Good.
And we're telling people it's for everyone. And I think this movie is making a concerted effort to be a little more intersectional.
It is.
A little more inclusive.
Which is a good thing, because you talk about the division with women being rivals. I mean, historically, as you've told me, there were also rivalries created between women fighting for equal rights and black people fighting for equal rights in the 19th century.
Yes, or even black women within the feminist movement, because needs are not going to be the same across the board. And so people worried, well, we can't push for everything at once. Well, yeah, you can and you should.
You need to.
You can't oppress some people's needs for the greater good, because that is also oppression.
Yeah, that's where you're just contributing to the problem and allowing yourselves to be divided by the patriarchy, the ruling class.
Again, exactly. So I think that this movie and the book that inspires it, so it is a novel by Jennifer Mathieu, a very good one. I think it really tries much harder to see things from a lot of different perspectives, because there are a lot of different women. We're not all the same. We all have different things, and it's okay to ask for those things.
Yes,
Everyone should get what they need in order to be treated equally. That should not be a controversial statement.
No, it shouldn't be.
And we shouldn't need little high school girls rallying for it. And yet we have done such an abysmal job of making it happen that we've left it to them. And that's what embarrasses me. But anyways, I think that this movie actually is not condemning anyone. I think in some ways it's a bit of a love letter to everyone who helped move the needle forward. But yeah, it is sort of raising up the little generation that's coming up next and empowering them, because they do have the power.
Yes, they do.
And they're not going to wait to inherit the earth. They're going to take it right now.
Well, good. Because there's not long. That's a whole other thing.
That's right. So I did just want to mention this young cast by name, because like I said, Amy Poehler, Clark Gregg, Ike Barinholtz plays the English teacher, Marcia Harden. There's a good, the old people are well represented, but the young people I thought were really great across the board. Most of them unknowns, but not for long, I'm guessing.
I would think, yeah.
As Vivian, we have Hadley Robinson. She was great.
Yes, she was.
You know, and we really do see her make quite an arc from someone who
we do. She
is
really
used to keeping her head down. And I think is almost literally told to keep her head down, or someone is, keep your head down. You know, to turn into someone who's going to keep her head up quite proudly. Good for you. So that's Hadley Robinson, plays Vivian. Claudia is played by Tsai. Lucy by Alycia Pascual-Pena. She was really great, wasn't she?
She's the match.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to see these two women, young women, who feel like maybe they didn't have a lot in common before this, realize we do have the most important thing in common, and that's enough.
Yep.
And then they do form a friendship.
They do.
And I think, you know, when we're young, we do think that our activities and our interests have to be the same. Even our geography. If you live next door to each other, it's a big bonus.
Yeah.
And then as we grow up, we realize that it's really the things we believe in that are most important to share with the people we let in our life. Seth, a rare boy in this movie, played by Nico Hiraga. Again, helping us to establish a new kind of leading man, the new guy that we are going to lust after, because he's feminist, he supports the cause, he's not afraid to show it.
He's not.
Ooh, that's hot.
Yeah.
That's hot. So the old kind of heartthrob, the football captain who used to be the star of this movie, and now he's the villain, and they haven't changed his character at all.
No.
He is the same guy, and now we know that he is the villain, played in this movie by Patrick Schwarzenegger. Ooh, interesting. Caitlin, played by Sabrina Haskett. Kira, played by Sydney Park. Maya by Anjelika Washington. Meg, played by Emily Hopper. She was very good. She played Meg, a young woman in a wheelchair. She is in the marching band and is relegated to the back, and she's got so many little like snappy and of course you'll notice this about a lot of disabled people because they get shunted in the same ways over and over, that they have developed not only a thick skin, not only a sense of humor, but they've got some of the best one-liners. Because they practice them, because they need them, because they have them at the ready. So I felt like this character, I know this character. Like I feel like she's a well-drawn character. CJ, played by Josie Toteh. Emma, played by Josephine Langford. Tons of young actors in this thing. They were all very good.
Yes, they were.
Which is great to see, but they're all contributing, right? They have a rainbow of people who all have different reasons for wanting this. And yet everyone has a reason for needing this. Sad, but true.
True.
So I thought Netflix has released this today, March 3rd, 2021, a few days ahead of International Women's Day, but I think it will be sort of the flavor of the month as it should be. It needs to be seen, and not just by the ladies in your life.
No, everyone should watch it. Mm-hmm. And it's a good movie, but it also is inspiring because, as you said, these girls are taking that torch and making change. Mm-hmm. And that is exciting.
Yes. And I think Amy Poehler as a director, Amy Poehler has her own little brand of like nerdy earnestness, and I felt like this movie had those vibes.
Yes, absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah.
She's just a dorky, smart, funny lady, and I think all of those things kind of transfer into this movie. And so it's endearing. It's very likable. It has a message, and yet it also takes the time to be funny.
Yeah.
So, what more do you want?
You're looking at me.
It is a good movie for all genders, all ages. Everyone can enjoy it, and it's streaming on Netflix. So enjoy. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.